Peace, y'all. Happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Try to get this camera angle on point. So we have to have all this. Let's see. I know the sun like, hey, I want to be in this. Apologies for the visuals, but as long as I can see y'all questions and vibes, that's all that count. At least for right now. If I need to show something, I switch it up. Michelle Smith, what's up? Professor Chrome, peace. Priyanka Maria PM, blessings, Indigo Being, Kenneth Scott, Light Bearer. What's up? Peace. Blessings. Want to start off as always, get the little aspects of certain things that's kind of floating on my, floating in the realm. To share that and pop off the Q&A. This video will be more so about the Q&A. Which, hey, being in my moment, matter of fact, another thing, being in the now, so much so to where, again, it's not that we don't have plans necessarily, but it's just not going to be as rigid anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever our now calls for, our heart, and soul is going to line up with that, But just speaking to the transits coming with the full moon, the new moon, the new moon on June 3rd. And basically, again, a moon in Gemini, may speak to, like, 'cause the moon in general deals with security, in essence, with us, dealing with our deeper emotions and subconscious realms. But what makes us comfortable, in essence, like, like a mother-like energy, you think about Cancer energy and being connected to that vibe. But, the security coming from a vibration of feeling involved in more than one mental activity. So say, for instance, like, we're going to find ourselves in which, so say, for instance, and I'm going to speak of the positive aspects and negative aspects as well. Jessica Warren, what's up? So say, for instance, we're going to find ourselves like in a place of objective evaluation, like, looking at things with a more open mind. That aspect is going to feel like a comfort zone for us. Also, a need to verbalize our emotions, like whenever, June 3rd, as this full moon coming in, we're going to start feeling this before the moon actually, the new moon actually gets here. But you're going to have a vibe to want to verbalize your emotions more, because, again, the Gemini energy, air, that's thoughts, that's words, that's communication, in a lot of cases, that's also, not necessarily relationships, but our connection with people. Because, again, what is communication without more than one person, in essence? Or just say multiple parties. Because, say, for instance, communication between, our high self, it's like, it's still like a, it's like more than one aspect there to draw that connection. But again, dealing with that need to verbalize emotions, and we may be scattered emotionally as well, because Gemini energy, again, like the two twins, almost like the left and the right brain, in essence. But those polarities, in essence, are that polarity like energy that Gemini gives off, is going to be in the realm of emotions. So we might find ourselves being scattered emotionally, so being aware of that, to working with a agate. First thing I thought of, like a moss agate, but an agate in general, any type of agate that got the little striped lines, helps to balance emotions, be more grounded, allows for you to reflect, because again, a new moon is about reflecting, and the agate, energy moves on a slower level for you to reflect and allow for things to, really seep in, instead of like a quick ass lesson like a moldavite or other energies may bring into your realm. And also, with this new moon in Gemini, satellite would be a great crystal to work with, because it balances emotions. The sodium, in essence, balances the water within our body, and water is connected to the emotions, and hence, the moon affecting the waters, our emotions. And when it's a full moon, that energy affects, our emotional system. And that's why in a new moon, which we're dealing with, it's a less intense emotional energy that allows for us to be more reflective, and to go more inward, within our energies. The sun is in Gemini on June 3rd as well, so we'll be motivated on an intellectual and a social level. So we'll have more motivation to be, to be in the thought realm, to be more intellectual, and to deal with like certain social concepts and ideas. But you're again communicating, but again more motivated to be intellectual in these vibes, in these times, or in these moments, I should say. You're gonna be in a vibe of asking more questions, connecting dots. Like you'll find yourself like reading books, or tapping into information and be like, all right, I connected this stuff that I read from this book, connects with the information that Universal Frequency said on this video, and that Pharaoh Dolo said, and this book, like you're gonna find like connection. You're gonna find a lot of connective aspects from the thought realm as far as learning aspects. So you'll find yourself, again, connecting the dots with information a little more. And also, your creative energy is going to be directed in a place of learning, because again, the sun deals with, the creative energy and the energy of what we choose to put out into the world and show people, so it's going to be in connection with that Gemini energy. So again, in connection with communication, the thought realm, being intellectual, being a little more social, the Gemini energy also connected to Mercury, and Mercury is connected to, that's the Papa Legba energy, that's the Hermes, again, Thoth, Jehudi, was Jehudi, the Lion of Jehudi, or Lion of Judah, that whole little connection as well. But again, like trying to say too much. I was doing good. But yeah, speaking of Mercury, and matter of fact, in Wednesday or Odin, but being a messenger of the gods, being like a magician. That's why the tarot card for Mercury is, the magician, making the magic happen, communicating with the different elements, because the communication between the elements allows for the magic to happen, also, again, wanting to tap into a bunch of different subject matters mentally, so again, like the mental aspect is going to be very active. Again, it's air, be careful of being over talkative, and like with your verbal expression, just being aware that as you're verbally expressing yourself, because again, the sun in Gemini, you may be verbally expressing yourself for recognition, like, hey, look at me, I know this. Hey, look at me, I know about the way the chakras spin. Give me some pat on the back for this information I know. Like, you may find yourself slipping into that realm. And again, as I'm saying, slipping into it, there's no right or wrong, good or bad on our growth. We're going through different things because it's a play out of energies, not only from our past lives, but actions that we have taken in this life. You know what I'm saying? And why it's so important for us to be lighthearted and clear moving forward, like, because now that we are becoming consciously aware within this dream realm, within this now that we're lucid dreaming, basically, and aware, it's like you don't want to self-sabotage yourself in any manner. And I was gonna go somewhere else with that. And blessings, y'all. And I'm gonna soon check out the questions and the vibes. All right, I'm about to answer your question soon, Jessica. Also, again, with the Gemini energy, we're gonna find ourselves dealing with, that duality energy, a little more. Also, because, say, for instance, the sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Gemini, and the sun and the moon within itself is like yin and yang, let alone the energy of Gemini. So, you may feel a vibe of a lot of, like, again, like split aspects, like aspects that battle against each other within you, coming up to the forefront. But again, as things coming up, and it may seem like, oh shit, things going to, like, all crazy. It's like, no, it's coming up for the forefront for you to realize certain aspects about yourself, and how can you heal yourself moving forward. Because again, in order to heal something, you got to be able to diagnose something, and diagnose means you got to have knowledge of it. And having knowledge of something doesn't mean you ignore a problem. It means that you need to know that a problem exists in order to fix it. If I'm ignoring the fact that I'm an alcoholic, then I'm gonna never get off of alcohol. If I'm ignoring the fact that this earth needs more attention and more, more help from the human aspect, then I could diagnose that, instead of ignoring and acting like this doesn't exist. Yeah, just be aware of the duality energies, being very present within our realm. Again, the June 3rd area, as the new moon is in its, like I say, in that position. I don't know how to use all these it's funny, like, astrology terminologies. I'm pretty, like, I'm way more knowledgeable than I give myself credit for in astrology. But the perfectionist Capricorn type of vibe of, like, if I don't sound like I'm the fucking know it all of this subject, then I'm gonna act like I don't know it all. It's like that energy. Because the Capricorn energy, they don't like to be embarrassed. So instead of being confident in what you know, it's like, oh no, if I don't know it all the way to the fullest, I ain't the greatest of all time of this knowledge, the GOAT of this knowledge, then I'm gonna say it kind of softly, because I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna be embarrassed if I say something. It's like, just share, humility, be vulnerable. Something I'm learning. All right. Hey, I'm about to say things froze up for a second. All right. And another aspect, again, Mercury in Gemini. Oh, Hammond, Louisiana is here. Who chose to incarnate in this lifetime was Opelousas, Louisiana. Opelousas, Louisiana. Again, you also got a Mercury in Gemini, so Mercury is at home on June 3rd as well. So definitely, again, heightened communications. We're gonna be more fluent and quick and clever in the mental realm. But have to be aware, because also this is double time, not only with Mercury in Gemini, but also with Sun in Gemini. To it, or like, hey, look at me, like, you're verbally expressing yourself out of recognition, or to be superficial, like, oh yeah, I do this and know that, know that, like, be aware of that. Like, you may fall into that realm of, like, hey, I know this, overly talking, or talking out of some sense of to be recognized, because again, that's the ego in most cases. Like, say, for instance, doing my YouTube channel and dealing with the vibe of this was because I love expressing myself and sharing information. Like, nothing feels better than to get a comment, or come across somebody who's like, bro, your information on your channel really helped. Like, like, forget the donations, like, look, I appreciate the donations, but like, all that shit, I started this vibe off of doing what I love, and wanting to help others, not out of, like, sharing information to be superficial. Now, of course, with anything, these aspects, we all these energies exist within us in some way, form, or fashion, so we may display, positive, negative aspects of all different zodiac signs. Again, that's the part of it being. A battery has a negative and a positive side. That's why it works. like negative and positive is two sides of one coin. You know, they both exist on one coin and they're not separate. They're just degrees of one energy. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a negative charge or a positive charge. You know, you got hot water or cold water. Both for temperature, both may be the same substance or whatever. You know, and I say about the same substance, but both are, you know, like a temperature in essence. You know, so they are the same thing. You know, but, again, you may feel the need to express your point of view or perception. You know, in conversation, because that is healthy. You know, about healthy balance of listening and talking. You know, but definitely, you know, you don't want to just sit there and not express your perception and how you feel. So you know, you're gonna have that energy popping up as well as, you know, you want to express your point of view and, you know, the way you see things. You know, and a lot of just friendly interactions and a lot of you know, question asking. Again, you find yourself asking a lot of questions right now, connecting with people, and also learning from, uh, you know, you're connecting people with ideals. So right now you're learning from, you know, people and their consciousness in essence. Like you might be looking up like Lemurians and what were they connected to or going through at the time, or Atlanteans, or, you know, or a certain indigenous tribe or whatever, but you're connecting people to consciousness right now in your learning process. You know, because again, that communication, community, you know, the word community and communication is, you know, one and the same basically. You know, but I'm about to check out this chat list. One sec, y'all. Get in the trees with it.